So this is another lesson of with me riding Rhett. We're going to be working on kind of getting him in the bridle, collecting him up a little bit to do some dressage. So I've already warmed him up on a loose rein, and now I'm going to go ahead and take the slack out of my reins. You can see here he's kind of in a nice position. He has a really nice halt. I'm going to click and then release my reins and reinforce him. So what I'm looking for here is definitely him taking some strides forward into the bridle while I take the slack out and him like going into it, but I want him listening to the reins as well. So I want him going forward off of my leg and then into the bridle. So he should collect a little bit. If he is not like kind of coming back off of the bit, then I need to ask him to stop and back up. And then vice versa, if he's not going forward off my legs, I need to get him going like into a trot. So that's kind of what we're working on here. Asked him to back up a little bit, but he's looking pretty good as far as that goes. These are just the beginning steps. Nothing crazy, like he doesn't know any like actual collection. It's just kind of the very beginnings of it. Like we were working on before in the last video with just the walk and kind of asking him to kind of just go get on the bit really. So I'm gonna have him go forward first, and then I kind of close my reins and then close my legs because he'll kind of halt there, like he kind of wanted to stop, and that's good. I want that. I want him thinking, oh, okay, you're asking me to slow down or stop, and then I ask him to go forward with my leg. So that's what we're doing here, and then I'm just kind of adding and like increasing the amount of time that he can walk forward like that before I ask him, before I click and then reinforce him. So you see me just kind of going forward, and a point where he feels really soft and he's listening really well, I'll click, I'll drop my reins and then reinforce him. So, I mean, you can also do this with a target, like that's what I'm kind of working on now with Dakota. These videos are a couple of years old at this point, so this is obviously using negative reinforcement. But you can do it with a target as well. I just wanted to kind of show what I was playing with Rhett at that time, because this is still a way that you could do it. So in a real easy way, like he's not stressed, like it's not really a big deal. He's pretty accepting of the bit. This is one that he goes well in. So again, you can see the same thing here. This is a nice profile view of it. So I just kind of took the slack out of my reins. I asked him to go forward, and that looked really nice. So I'm going to click when I have those nice moments and then reinforce him. So let him stand for a while, and then I let him go forward on a loose rein, and then I'll pick up those reins. He kind of rocks his weight back a little bit. That's exactly what I'm looking for. I'll put my leg on and he'll continue forward. And then I want to work on that same kind of thing at the trot too. You're going to have to play with your aids to get that as well. So like here you can see him really slowing down. I kind of like take my leg off and I want him just responding to the bit. And then I was asking, I like kept my my rein cues on, my rein pressure on until he kind of rocked back a little bit there. And he also has a leg cue to back up, and that's me sliding my leg back a bit and then applying pressure there, and that is his backup cue, and he already learned how to do that separately. So I asked him to go forward, I shorten my reins, I add my leg, and he kind of collects a little bit here. You can see there, that looks nice. That's a good profile view of that. And we're again adding up how many strides he can take like that. And that looks pretty good. You thinking about going into the trot there? I don't know if he got confused or if I was asking and he was confused and didn't really want to go into it, but this looks really nice, like nice forward walk. He looks like he's on the bit quite nicely there. A little bit of confusion in the middle, but not bad. Really, I'm not too worried about that where he got a little bit more forward. That's totally cool. He didn't like raise his head up or get real worried, so that doesn't look too bad at all. So I let him sit for a little bit, and then we'll ask him for a trot here and do the kind of work on the same thing here. I just kind of take the slack out of the reins. And it's just very subtle. Like he's used to big loop in the reins and I'm kind of just holding the end. At this point, I'm just taking the slack out so like I can feel the bit. I'm not holding, I'm not pulling. It's just taking the slack out. I'm trying to ride him on as loose a rein as possible while still doing dressage. So that looked really good. Did a couple of strides there, clicking for a good moment and then reinforcing. I'm trying to talk about the pieces where he's like closer to the fence here so you can see, but here you can see kind of how short my reins are here. That looks pretty good. Obviously he doesn't have that like curled neck. He's not there. Like he's not at that point at all. We're doing like training level dressage, or not even like intro, whatever the very beginning is, intro level. So that's where he's at. And their necks are still going to be pretty flat and low. So that looks pretty good. Nice transition. I actually like where he's at here. This looks nice. Moving forward well, but still like maintaining that contact, and not bad at all. And again, it's very loose. It's just I took the slack out. That looks good. Nice downward transition, pretty much just off of my seat right there. So I let him stand and relax for quite a bit, and then we just change directions, and we're going to work on it again going this direction. So again, same thing, took the slack out of my reins here. You can see him kind of, he's sitting back a little bit more than he normally does. And then he's preparing for that stop, so that looks really nice. Ask him to go on again. And he still kind of struggled with the going forward from a halt with the shortened reins. So I let him kind of walk with a little bit looser rein, and then I kind of pick up the slack once he's going. And we'll work on that later. Back into trot. Maintaining a little bit of that contact there. That looks pretty good. And we're going a little bit further distance too. Kind of stalled there and then went on again. That looks pretty nice. And then he went all the way down to that downward transition. So I'm going to click and reinforce for that downward transition. So again, I let him sit still for a little bit, and then we change direction, work on the trot this way. He does so much better in the round pen than he does in the arena. It may be because I'm just like, I ride him more often in here, or maybe I feel more comfortable in here. But yeah, he seems to balance better. It could be the circling as well. But yeah, in the arena, he seems more out of balance and kind of just a little bit more worried, and I would say definitely out of balance. So this looks quite nice again. Nice trot the other way, kind of on the bit there. Not too bad at all. But yeah, once I was kind of practicing my test in the arena, he did seem kind of just like not as connected. I guess it could have also been the space issue. More space, you might felt the need to go faster. So, but that is interesting kind of watching these videos back. So trot transition looked decent. Nice turn. He kind of like made a sharp turn and fell out of the trot. That's okay. He went back into it nicely. Again, I like where his head was at. Like he didn't bring it up and get real tight like going into the trot or the walk. This looks decent. Pretty nice. Not too bad at all. I like that he's moving out a little bit more here. That's kind of closer to the trot I get in the arena, but it just seems more unbalanced to me there. I don't want to say it's probably a mixture of like the circle and him maybe feeling a little bit safer in here, me feeling that. So, but yeah, I definitely probably should have worked on more on his, just riding out in the arena, definitely. Then we'll go back to the walk. And just like that light contact on the reins. I'm probably gonna bring my hands up, my elbows back too. That's one of my things that I still need to work on, is I tend to ride with too straight of an arm to like give too long of a rein. I need to bring my elbows back and my shoulders back, and that's something I still need to work on. And that's probably not helping him either, because then I'm going forward and he needs to go forward, and then he kind of rushes. And then that makes me go forward, so it's like this never-ending cycle. But he looks decent here. He looks pretty good. Especially if we're not like working on like collection or anything, and that's obviously very beginning stages, little baby stages, nothing crazy. He's not going to be like an upper level dressage horse right away, but this is the very beginning that he's learning to do, and it actually is not too bad. So I'm pretty happy with all of that. So I let him stand here for quite a while, ask him to just back up a step. Very nice. Got to work on that a little bit more too, reinforce him for that, and then we're just going to kind of end the ride here.